Yeah. I felt emotionally engaged when Molly took drugs with Ellie. I felt tension because no one knew that she was there, so she was being secretive. I feel like the screenwriter was trying to trigger the emotion of um, curiosity and make the audience feel off edge. I think that Molly feels nervous as she doesn't know any of Macy's friends as much and she doesn't want to kind of mix with them. Macy feels worried and curious because she keeps looking over at her twin, so she's obviously protective over her. Yes, because it engages you more within the film and it makes you feel like you're more understanding what's happening, that you understand more. I think they were conveyed quite successfully as I could understand some of the emotions, but I think that more emotions should be added in the beginning of the script, as I didn't really understand what was going on between the sisters. Yeah. The stakes are when Molly's hiding behind the tree with Dan, when Molly knows that Macy likes Dan. The fact that Macy goes down to Molly with Dan when Macy knows that Molly likes him, and the fact that they're doing drugs and Dan doesn't like drugs. Yeah, by adding a bit more tension, by adding conflict between Molly and Macy about Dan. Yeah. I think it's Molly's point of view. Because there's more personal information added from Molly's life than Macy's life. Yeah. Yeah. Drugs and alcohol. No. To show that she was spying on her sister. Alcoholism, drugs, peer pressure and sister rivalry. Off edge and tensed. Peer pressure and weak relationships. There's rivalry between them as Macy doesn't approve on what Molly's doing with the drugs. They're not that close, so it's quite weak, it's not as strong as it should be. Yeah. Drugs. I identified the main problem in the beginning when Molly wanted the alcohol, but then I was more aware when the drugs were added into the scene. Yeah. I don't think there needs to be any more dialogue put into the story. When Macy's friend comes to talk to her about her being late. I think the dialogue is realistic, but I think you need to add in more emotions towards it to be a bit more realistic. Yeah. them at a party. A small garden with a big tree. The atmosphere is quite awkward and a lot of tension. Yeah. No. Yeah. I have a lot of friends that have been through the situation, and teenagers our age like to try out a lot of different things.
Yes. I felt emotionally engaged towards the end of the script um, with the white powder drug scene. I felt intrigued and a little bit cautious uh, as to what Macy's intentions were. I think the screenwriter was trying to evoke emotions of curiosity and anxiousness, nervousness. You know, I felt a bit tense and a bit weary of some parts of the script. I feel like Molly feels as if she doesn't really want to be a part of this party. Um, you know, she feels like she's probably better than Macy and her friends. So, and she feels like, I mean, I feel like she doesn't want to be there, and that she's looking for a reason to go there. So when she asks Macy, "Are you sure Dan's going to be there?" It's just like she wants someone that she's familiar with to go there so she can have a good time. I feel like Macy is worried for her sister Molly, and that's the reason why she's dragging her to this party, so that she makes sure that Molly's safe and around her. Yes, they were successfully conveyed, but to an extent, because some parts of the script is very vague, and you can only tell by maybe the exclamation marks or the question marks as to how the characters are feeling. But I think with some of the body language that's conveyed in the script, that helps. Say the first part of the script, when the girls are approaching the house party, um, it wasn't that clear to me as to what their emotions were. No. The stakes are shown firstly when Macy has to decide whether she and Dan go to meet her sister Molly while she's doing drugs. The tension between Daniel and the twins makes the stakes high enough. Certainly, to make the stakes higher, I would change what goes on between Daniel and Macy. Like, I would probably make Daniel more affectionate towards Macy, and then that could kind of build up the tension and suspense when they later meet Molly. Yes, Macy. Through Macy spying on the group of girls. No, because it's kind of confusing when it's kind of confusing with the detailed description about Molly. Yes. People shouldn't give in to peer pressure. No. I felt like Macy was showing her consistent worry about Molly doing drugs. I noticed issues of family relationships and like possible rivalries in family, obviously peer pressure, drug and alcoholic abuse. Well, I feel like I could relate to them because they're teenagers and I'm a teenager and I have friends who drink and do drugs. So um, yeah, I felt a connection. Sibling rivalry. I feel like there's a rivalry between them, between those two. I feel like their relationship is strained. Yes. The awareness of drugs. Towards the end of the script, when Molly was seen with a pack of powder. Yes. I think within the drug scene, when with Molly and Ellie, just more dialogue to make it more impactful on the reader. When Macy's behind the tree, then no. Due to Molly's overall reaction when the drugs were knocked out of her hand, I feel like she should have evoked more emotion, more action, and that wasn't evident. Yes, I can visualize a house party with lots of teenagers doing underage things. Relatively small garden, lots of grass. It's not a lively atmosphere, it's kind of awkward. Some people are restricted. No. Yes, I would change the drug scene. I would make it more visual by obviously having more drugs present and then having the characters react in a more strongly and powerful way. Yes. I personally cannot relate, but I have been around my friends who have been through that experience, so definitely say that.
None really. The ending was quite, I found quite emotionally engaged into the ending, the argument bit. I didn't really like seeing very much when she was standing by the tree. Probably kind of sympathy for Macy in her situation, and Molly as well. And with the rest, I probably think she feels like nervous about taking Macy out of her. Same as Molly, just nervous about going out with her. I guess in a way, he does. I feel like, I think it was to do with clarity that I didn't understand the script as well as I did, as the emotions I was trying to convey as well. No. Embarrassment for Molly and her friends, and same really for Macy, and Macy the stakes are watching her sister do drugs and like that. I don't know, I feel like there isn't a big enough issue really. They just seems like they've had a bit of an argument over what Molly wants to do in comparison to what Macy wants to do, and the characters seem like they would butt heads anyway, so it seems like it wouldn't be that much of a different occasion that would happen on a different day. Maybe Molly admits that she does the drugs quite often, rather than like her friend does it. Like it's her, she does it quite often, then Macy realises how bad it is. I feel like Macy, because she was the one watching them, and she got a point of view shot at a point. Yeah, I think you wrote point of view shot in the script. Macy's definitely the one that reacts to what Molly's doing rather than the other way around. Yes and no. I think it was just the circumstances. I don't think the stakes led to be high enough for it to have an important meaning in life or whatever. She feels like an outsider with these kind of people. She doesn't fit in. Drugs, sibling rivalry, underage drinking. The drugs one was only the real serious one that would really make you feel anything, because I feel like the underage drinking at a party wouldn't be like that big of a deal, but the other drugs might be. Sibling rivalry. They're very competitive. They're very strong in their point of view. They disagree with each other's actions during the film. Tense. Yeah. Macy really sees what her sisters gets up to and stuff. When the substances, also the substances come out, or the higher class. Yeah, I feel like they talk like the right age. No, I think it's got loads of dialogue. The beginning, I feel like a lot more can be communicated without the dialogue really. And it leaves more mystery into the script as well. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, very well. A garden, just a regular garden, quite muddy, and people wearing quite warm clothes, and in groups in a tree. Just a regular party upstairs. It's like a slight bit of tension with any group of people, but still good. I feel like it could have been more, it could have had more impact on the story. That part where she gets the drugs out for the first time. Yeah. everyone disagrees with their siblings at some point in their life, in a similar age to them, and to a point before.
Yeah. Probably the bit where I think it was at the end when Macy was shouting at her sister, because it seemed for the rest of it she seemed to be quite protective over her, so she seemed to lose her cool. Probably a little perhaps wary, because we weren't quite sure what she might have or was going to do. Perhaps anger at the younger sister, I think Molly, because she seemed to be quite rude to her sister who was just trying to look after her. Is she a bit perhaps overconfident? Again, probably, I'm going to use this word again, probably wary, because Molly seems a bit ahead of herself. Yeah. Quite well. Yeah. I'm not completely sure, but would it be something to do with them losing the relationship, their sisterly relationship? I would probably make it a bit more explanatory, because I was a tad confused. I think so. Was it the two sisters, but primarily Macy? She seemed to be in pretty much every scene. Yeah. Yeah, I think it had a meaning that would probably resonate quite well in today's society. Would it be to a sort of like family before yourself? But again, looking at the sisterly relationship, would it be a meaning of looking out for your family? With alcohol, and I think there was a bit of drug abuse at the end. They made me really feel anything, but I could definitely see how it is relevant to today. Would it again be the issues of families and relationships? Macy is looking out for Molly, but Molly is just sort of getting ahead of herself and taking alcohol and drugs and waiting for a boy, probably. Somewhat troubled, because Macy is looking out for her, so she's clearly like the better sister, but Molly doesn't really care. I think so. Would it be the substance abuse? About halfway through the first page when Molly says no vodka more like, because you can tell she's going to be quiet. Yes. There was quite a lot of dialogue in pretty much every scene. But, however, I think some of the dialogue was saying what you can't really express visually. However, I think some of it could be cut and expressed visually quite interesting. Yeah. Yes. The party sort of look at people. Would be quite a, as it's night, quite a dark and crowded garden. Loud? Loud and crowded. I suppose it was quite realistic. I think I would maybe describe some more of the settings, such as the colours. Yeah. To be honest, I don't really have much because I don't really go to many parties, but I can see it working in today.